Hi there. I am live, it seems. Wonderful. How are you doing this morning? I am going to be in conversation with Lucinda Douglas. I am just waiting for her to get on board. This is new software that we're using. As usual, don't you find this quite interesting when we're doing lives these days? You find all this wonderful software. So cool. I kind of like it. Must tell you, interesting. Yesterday, I was on a Zoom call, with ladies from India, Colombia, the UK, I think Australia, and myself. How cool is that? I just think it is so cool. I'm not used to going live so early in the morning. Well, it really isn't early anymore, is it? But yeah, I have I have this live with Lucinda. A little bit about Lucinda. We met on LinkedIn. A mutual friend of ours suggested that the two of us meet up because we're both passionate about women's empowerment. And yeah, so I sent her a LinkedIn message and she replied. And then I thought, oh my, what next? And we got to talking. And this was about at the beginning of March. And I must tell you that she has played a significant role in getting me to the stage. Let me just see. I'm sure she may be struggling to get in. You know, this is new territory for us. Yeah, it's the same one. Sorry about that. I just sent the thing. So we met in March via LinkedIn, and we have been chatting via Facebook video. She's in the Netherlands, and interestingly enough, she is South African. She was born like me. Well, she was born a year later than me. She's 1968. And I think they lived in the northern suburbs. Yeah, and those of you who know me, don't call me typical southern suburbs person again. So we had a lot in common, you know, similar experiences. Obviously, she's made a home in the Netherlands, and that has been kind of interesting. She speaks fluent Dutch, and coming from South Africa and the Afrikaans background that I do have, yes, I do actually have Afrikaans. My grandparents were Dutch. We actually had a lot to speak about. I can actually understand. I read her posts in Dutch, which I'm so proud of. And after all these years, I can still do that. And yeah, let me just see if Lucinda is struggling to get on. Oh, she has to restart her PC. So, okay, we'll continue while we wait for shame. You see, that's what happens on lives, and well, just generally the way that the world is right now. I think technical glitches are part of our lives. I mean, not this life, but generally, when we start to do things. And I think the biggest jolt that I've had received is to get a little bit more tech savvy. You know, before I used to rely on Emma to do things for me, and so and while I still rely on her, She has taught me a few things, and I am now getting to be self-sufficient, which is so cool. If you're hopping on or watching, um, please let me know that you're here. It will be wonderful. I am going to talk about my books. She Speaks Global, the COVID edition. You'll see a ticker running across the screen. I want to encourage as many women as possible to join. My actual target is 100 women, but we'll chat about it again later and what my vision is. And some other things that I'm doing right now. I think May is like a jam-packed month for me, and I didn't realize it when I started out. I'm launching my group coaching membership program. Um, I am launching the book, and well, the book project starts on the 1st of May when we all start writing. And then a global summit that I participated in is going to go live, and that will be from the 1st of May to the 7th of May. So that is quite what's a badass way to start the new month. So let's see what level 4 lockdown has in for me. She's still restarting her PC. So if you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments. I will answer them. And yeah, let me tell you a little bit more about what's happening. So for those of you who follow my fashion posts, today I am also wearing another out from my favorite store, Indecent Fashion Emporium. And obviously my makeup and my perfume and all of that is from my store, which is going to be online. It is online. We can sell online. My goods are classified personal toiletries, so I can sell them. I have myself and another staff member in the store, so the two of us have sanitized and disinfected everything. We have a routine that we've set up. I am lucky that it's only two of us, so it's not so expensive, and we can actually service our clients new way. I think it takes clients a lot of getting used to, and I will have to, do lots of education around that. But yeah, I'd like to know how you have experienced shopping in the lockdown period, and just generally what you've been aware of when you go to the shop. I know the level 4, regulations stipulate distance a bit more clearly. So you have to be like 2 meters away from someone in the shops. So I find that interesting. What else did I read that I found particularly interesting? We can now meet, but only up to 10 people. That's what I saw. So I'm not sure if the 100 people have disappeared or if that's only for funerals. So there's lots of areas that are grey, but I'm going to be doing a live this afternoon in my group, Self-Empowerment with Suzanne, and talking to women business owners and making them aware of the impacts on their business so that we can see what we can do. Well, nobody's putting any questions. Oh, that's interesting. I think nobody's awake. So I'm going to have my coffee live on screen. Cheers. Feminist all the way. For those of you who know me, know that I need my coffee first thing in the morning to ease my way into the day. But now I've got this huge mug thanks to a friend of mine in America when I was there. Christy, in fact, we met personally a year ago. We first met on Zoom, can you believe it? So another one. So I think I've been prepared for this journey. If I look back in the past year, I think, God has been preparing me for this. I started using the online space a lot more because I was in Los Angeles from, I think, March last year. And it was the only way that I could stay in contact with people here because of the time difference. So I did a lot of Zoom videos and things like that, but they were like really awful. If I look back on them now. But anyway, that were my practice runs. And I also did a lot of Zoom meetings because, the United States is also quite large. And people are like scattered all over different time zones. It's actually quite mind-boggling to get used to a country that has different time zones because, like we in one time zone. So that was interesting. And getting used to that was quite a mission, but then I mastered it. And we also had things like, I think I didn't use Facebook video call then, but Zoom was quite a high thing on my list. And I could talk to people from all over the world. So that was fun. And also technical glitches. I don't claim to be a fundi, but at least I know my way around a Zoom room. And then we started with COVID-19 and it actually became more prevalent. So the software that I'm using today is something different because Facebook wasn't allowing people to be more than one on a live. And so I've done StreamYard. So it's quite useful for people who need to use like a two-way broadcast. You get the first 20 hours free. So if you want a link, let me drop a comment below and I'll send you a referral link. It's actually quite cool. As you can see, the quality is good. It is, well, Emma and I used it the other day, so that was the first time, but yeah. So, okay, I think she's coming on. Let me add her.
Yes.
Ah!
I made it. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. First time I work with the software, Susanna, so please forgive me.
Well, I was just talking about it now. I was like saying this is like so cool because I could get two people on it. And the first time I used it was with Emma.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so I found it quite. We did a live last week or the week before using this, and it was so cool to have both people on
At the same time.
at the same time because Facebook doesn't allow it anymore. I see they're bringing it back,
Oh,
but
really?
but I think this quality is much better, so I'm sticking to this for a while.
This is amazing. This is truly amazing because I was. My PC is not. I should buy a new one immediately, of course. But this looks no. But it even carries the software, and it's good. So I'm
I
going to use it as
know,
well.
I know, because it's cloud based. I was just talking to people now and saying, I started my Zoom, I don't know if I was like being primed for this era. Probably I was, because I was like last year I was in the States about this time and I got introduced to Zoom,
Yes.
and I was like, so people were, because of the distances, they always spoke on Zoom, and it was very sort of unfamiliar to be in a country that has like different time zones.
Yes, that I understand.
So, so I learned about Zoom, and I kind of know my way around Zoom. So I was very proud. Now all these other software things are coming out, which actually make the experience a lot better,
It's
and I
amazing.
kind of like it.
I mean, I was looking at the stock, Zoom, and it's gone from $60 to like 150.
I think
So
I think Zoom and Netflix are making a
yes, yes,
killing.
yes, they are. They
But
are earning amazing.
yeah, but I think Netflix has also come out with a. I mean, I think what these companies have realized, and what I find interesting just watching it, that they need to create more personal experiences.
Yes.
Um, so like you can put up to 100 people on Zoom or something like that. So they're trying to make it more personal by you can allow people into the Zoom room. You have to give them a password. Obviously, that's for the security as well, but at
Yes.
least you feel like you have some control over it. I think with Netflix they've done like you can be wherever you are and view one photo, I mean, one film yourself. Ah, there's Melissa saying morning. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Can you see it on the screen? This is so cool. I'm playing around, eh?
Oh, you're playing around? Oh, okay. I can
Yeah,
see it now because I can look at the live
yeah.
comments.
And on the end, I have Lucinda, you'll be proud of me. I've got the sticker tape running, which says, "Join me on my journey. She Speaks Global. The COVID edition has a chapter with your name on it."
I can see it in the bottom. I think it's amazing what you've done.
So
I mean,
this is like my broadcast studio.
wow. Listen, it really is fascinating. It doesn't matter how. I mean, just understanding technology is a challenge already, but you've
I
done this
love
so
it too,
well.
Melissa. It's kind of cool, eh? I've got my own TV studio now.
Yes, now you do. Now you certainly do. I mean, you can do this with anybody in the entire world. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah. I was just telling viewers earlier on that I had a Zoom call last night with someone from India, someone
Wow.
from Colombia,
Yes.
someone from the UK and Australia, and myself. How is that? And all women on one call.
Yes. But I think it just this whole COVID has just opened up the world. All of a sudden, you can, and it's so easy, just to get around, and it's necessary to get around as well, because otherwise you're stuck with too little information, and there's so much happening, so many. I mean, just the mere fact that Netflix and the Zoom, they are doing so well, and this entire stock exchange is like, just crashed. And there are these certain things that are doing it so well, and I'm thinking, okay, so what are we going to do exactly that?
Yeah, that's I've been thinking. I was also speaking about May has suddenly become such a busy month for me, and everything's happening in the first week of May. It's like very weird. I'm starting my group coaching
Yes,
program. I'm starting the book project,
yes.
and then there's a global summit that I'm participating in that is going live on the 1st of
Oh,
May.
yes, yes. Good for
Um,
you. Good.
and I was like, oh my goodness, from being like feeling, oh, COVID-19 is the end of the
Yes,
world, it's actually opened up the world.
yes, yes. I think that is true. I mean, I was looking at my what was I going to earn in this period of time, and everything is just it's even gotten better, and that is the
You're lucky.
fascinating part.
You're lucky. But you see, you still have movement freedom. We have been sort of stuck at home.
Yes.
Honestly, it's helped to be online, but I think for the limitation of movement, I was actually reading an article this morning which said, you know, how can we move beyond the Stockholm syndrome? And I've forgotten
Yes.
about that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember, I remember us having a conversation earlier on about how burnt out people may or may not be after this period because of the stress that they have right now, which I found an interesting, take on things because We don't have that. Are you taking a photo?
Yes, it's so amazing to do that. I love it.
You must send me the photos that you take.
I will. I promise.
I gave people a short, high-level overview of how we met. And the interesting thing is that you are also from Cape Town.
Yes. If you can't hear that, you're not listening.
And that and that I can understand your Dutch.
Yes. That's even more amazing.
So, so how's it been living overseas for 20, how many years?
I think 27. I always have to count back. How old is my daughter and how old am I? I think it's been like 26, 27 years.
Wow.
You never lose the South African accent. You never do. It's impossible. I know when I worked in London for a while, and people just said to me, "Oh, you come from Cape Town." And I'm thinking, I'm doing everything to camouflage this, I mean, really, I'm trying to blend here. And, when I'm, it's a privilege because you take two cultures. You live with the knowledge of two cultures. And that makes you a very rich person because what we experienced in South Africa is totally different to life here. And that is the advantage that you have. So you take an entire culture, you bring it with you, and you combine that with a culture here. And it's just people in South Africa probably don't understand how fortunate they are with the experiences, negative, and positive, of course. But it makes you such a resilient person. And this resilience is something that is very much needed and wanted. So if you're trying to figure out what is my worth, your worth is very high. The only thing is you need to understand how you can use that worth. Because bounce back and resilience, those are two things that we need as a basis. And that is what I've got here. And I noticed that those are probably the two things that make me the most successful in what I do.
Well, I saw, and I mean, influenced by you yesterday, I wrote my post about I'm no longer a victim.
I saw it. But I still have to read it. I saw it. I thought, this is amazing. I said it's amazing before I even read it.
And I mean, in there, I talk about that we're going to need women who are. Oh, somebody says, what's wrong with the Cape Town accent? Well, you haven't heard us.
I can actually speak Kombuis Engels, eh?
Okay,
and
so
no.
There's nothing wrong with the Cape Town accent.
No,
it's just very distinctive for us colored women.
Yeah. And I've got the sister living in France, and then she's been living there since Pa fell off the bus, like for 30 years or something. And when we talk to each other, near man, near, and it's that part. It's not even the accent; it's all the additives, or just these certain things that you use, and then it becomes hilarious. But it's very recognizable in the entire world. Australia, America, they know you.
Yeah. No, I think when I get angry or frustrated, then my Cape Town accent is at its best.
Yes.
And also, being a colored woman, then you hear, I thought, no, there's no way I can disguise my roots.
It doesn't work. I mean, it's just fun to try to disguise it sometimes, you just really, but there is, especially in the big cities when you meet people, I mean, they know, I've opened my mouth and they know it.
Well, it was, I mean, that was really strange talking about South African accents. The Americans love my South African accent. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, but I don't know how you, I think American English is, I think the English we speak it sounds much better,
laughing, so she knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, it never leaves, and of course I can.
It's a proud identity that
yes. No, it's true because I'm speaking at a symposium at the end of the year, and this woman says to me, she says, there is somebody who's going to speak on the phenomena. She's specialized in Cape Coloureds. Do you feel bad if she's going to call you a Cape Coloured? I said, no, that's who I am. You know, so I mean that just made it easy for everybody. But I said, that's who I am. You know, I'm just a Cape Coloured, and it's such a beautiful identity. I think sometimes you run away from the most beautiful things.
That's true. That's true. We do. It's just interesting living in another country. I was horrified at the small spaces that people live in. It was quite hilarious. My first introduction to Los Angeles, the house looked like one of those very small houses in the township that we first grew up in. And I was like, oh my goodness, am I back here again?
Oh, yes, precisely. Yes, I'm not going to say, but I understand. Well, I live in the Netherlands, you know. I mean, you know, the Netherlands is as big as the Kruger National Park.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. It's 44 times smaller than South Africa. I mean, you can drive from north to south, east to west in one day. It sounds crazy, right? And you have lots of different cultures in this country as well. So I always say to people, in the Kruger National Park, we also have differentiations. But there are different accents here, different. It's amazing. It's just simply amazing. But it's so. I like it, you know. It's so tiny. And if you look at my garden, I mean, it looks like a stamp. That's the size of my garden. But the great thing about having a stamp as a garden is you organize everything very specifically in this garden. You know, there's no junk. There's nothing, because every spot has to be used and utilized. Otherwise, there's you can't move. So I've got my hair mark, and everything is exactly placed where it should be. So the less you have, the more structured you are. You know, I like that phenomena.
I think so, and also the less you can hoard.
Yes, I can't, because there's no space. We have 3 floors in this house, and it's 150 square meters in total. And the garden in front is a little garden-y. And at the back, I've got my stamp, which is great, you know. I've got all my chili plants, because my mother always had chili plants in the gardens. I've got chili plants and, you know, this kind of stuff in pots, because they only work for the summer, not for the winter. And I had to get used to the temperatures here. I think that's, it's like we have minus for 6 months a year. And now it's plus. And that's going to be like for 4 months.
Oh no, I'm actually having my first winter in South Africa
Yes, you were saying.
In like 2 or 3 years. And I'm freezing already.
You see, you don't know what you have until you're not there anymore.
I was like, oh my goodness. I went through 3 summers, because summer starts at around about this time and lasts until August in LA, and it's very hot. It's like beach weather every single day.
Jeez.
And sometimes they tell you not to go outside for fear of sunstroke and things like that. Like, I think we have the same here, but I mean, it was just unbearable. And I learned the value of an air conditioner over there. Because I never used it. I don't like using it. It dries out my skin and all of those things. But you just definitely can't survive in that.
And you don't have the challenge here.
No, coming back to so being in the South African winter. Well, I actually like winter, because, you know, you can dress up.
Yes.
And as long as I'm inside. And I think you might not know, we don't have rain here in Gauteng during winter, so that's why it's nice. It's very cold, but it's quite cool. We have summer rain.
Oh yes, okay. I've never. I visited Johannesburg in 1988. It's the last time I was there.
Oh wow!
Yes, I know. So that was really a long time ago, you know. But I found it to be one of the most amazing cities then already, because my sister lived in Berea.
Oh, okay.
And
does she still live there?
Oh, she moved down to Cape Town.
Oh, okay.
And I found it to be, I mean, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and my other sister came in with her shopping, you know. I thought, this is a 24-hour economy. This was back in 88 already. I mean, there are some places in the world where you don't even see that yet.
Oh, okay. So we
You know,
thought we are behind.
no, there's nothing behind for South Africa.
Well, you know, they like calling us a third world country.
What makes a country a third world country? Is it only money? If that is, you know, it's amazing. I was thinking about it because I'm doing a course now. What I do is I help people. Well, when people are dying, somebody has to, you know, participate to keep them. That process has to be. I don't even know what the proper English word is for it, but that whole process. That is the process I do,
Oh,
and
I didn't
so
know
well, because I'm going to start my. Well, I think it's something.
that.
It's, you know, if I have a hobby, maybe that's a good hobby, but I think it's really good to do. And of course, I've got my workers a lot, and I work with people all the time. But I thought
Mm-hmm.
this would be great to do, you know. And I've thought it's really sad in the time of COVID that people are dying alone in old age homes. So I want to be in that process when they are dying alone. I can't imagine, because I think not only money makes you a first world country, but the way you go about with people as well. You know.
I think that's what we are learning now, quite dramatically, is empathy for the your next human being, and not just polite empathy. You know, South Africans are very polite.
They're just like Indians and just like English. They're so polite, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, British rule for I don't know how long, but I mean, I think we've become more real now. Um, I mean, more real in like empathizing with people beyond our friendship circle. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a greater sense of we are all in this together
Mm,
than and like any typical we are all in this together. They are the frustrations, they are the outbursts and all of that. So when I read this article about Stockholm syndrome, I thought, it's like not just your little world that's in Stockholm syndrome. It's actually the whole country because there's frustrations about limitation of movement, you know, and things like that. And obviously, people questioning how do you bring a whole country to a standstill, and you know, and for what purpose? And I've been keeping a close watch on these things because I'm trying to sort of discern where things are going. You know, no, I'm the strategist in me.
yes.
Melissa says she loves what you do, Lucinda.
Okay, so help me out. What do I do, Melissa? Oh, helping these people in their last process.
Yeah,
Oh, that's yes. I can't imagine people dying alone. I just the thought of it really gets to me.
I don't think we can actually do that here right now because of social distancing. So you are very privileged.
Oh no, it's not. We're officially not allowed to do it either. But
Oh,
if you take the personal responsibility
uh-huh.
that you might get COVID as well, then you are allowed to do it.
Oh, okay, okay. So that's kind of cool. We have that concept in hospice. Is it similar to that?
Yes, but people in the hospices they work voluntary as well, and lots of
Um,
them have chosen not to do it anymore because of the risks that COVID has for their families. And I said, you know, it's something I want to do because I think it's humane to do it as well.
oh, amazing! That is amazing.
Life is not only about me, you know, it's about people around me as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's something I think we should consider here because we've had 90 deaths so far. And I think someone has commented on, you know, these 90 people have died alone. And I thought that was quite a um, sad,
Yes.
really way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I always said I would love to just fall asleep and pass into the next world.
Well,
But
I've got this whole list. You know, I would like to be able to say farewell to all my family members. I would like to just have a last conversation with everybody. I want no pain. You know, all those kind of things. Everybody starts laughing here. But you're right. It would be great to be painless, but for now, Susanna, we are going nowhere. I think we are staying.
No,
Besides
we
the
are
other
staying.
people, yes, we're staying for a while. At least I want to enjoy
And
you for a while. I want to see what you're up to for a while as well.
oh, yeah, no, I'm started to like, get back to me for a very long time. And I mean, you'll see it in my blog post. I've been talking about it in terms of COVID has actually had an invigorating effect on me rather than a debilitating effect. But I mean, I've also come on a journey because when this started, I was like, oh, my life is falling apart. My earnings are gone away, and
Yes.
it took me about, I think it took me about 2 to 3 weeks in the beginning, to just get to the point, and that's why I wrote my one post was about my Vloermoer experience,
Yeah, and then
and
you
I
think
think
I know what vloermoer is. I have no idea. And I'm reading it and I look in the dictionary. I can't find it either.
it's a term for babies throwing a tantrum. You
Oh,
know
vloer. Okay. Yes,
when
yes,
they
yes.
jump
Okay.
on the floor and they
Yes, yes.
get
Now I get it.
so
Those
there's no
words I understand.
there's no English word for it. There's just
Yes,
no English
yes.
word. So I
But
say
I
I had
understand.
a Vloermoer moment.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I was like, remember that day I told you I was in my pajamas the whole day?
Mm-hmm.
That was the day. So I was like, this damn world is, again going mad and I'm caught up in it, all of this nonsense. So I had my pity party and then, strangely enough, I sort of calmed down and thought, no, Suzanne, no, man. You've been through worse,
Yeah.
start reflecting on where you are at and actually share that with people so that they can realize it's actually not the end of the world.
No, it's the start of
It's
something new, you
just
know?
the end of the world as we know it
Yes.
at the moment, and it will allow us to get used to and reflect on what really matters to you in your life. And I don't think we've ever had the opportunity like we do now to actually look at what matters because you're actually forced to be quiet. You know, at this time, the roads in the province that I live would be like jam packed. Everybody's swearing and wanting to get to work, and those things. So I love the fact that I don't have the stress of traffic in the morning and getting to the office and being
Yes.
I actually get into my
Yes.
office and I look forward to the day.
Yes, and I think the same goes here because we're not allowed, at least the buildings, the offices are closed, the companies are closed, only the shops are open, necessary shops. And it's interesting to see because all of a sudden, I was looking at my, what I'd driven the last month, and I'd only driven 650 kilometers, and those are private kilometers. And it's nothing, it's nothing. And if at
You've
the
driven
last
650 kilometers. I've driven 10.
Oh, wow. I want to see something else besides the backyard, And I think your backyard is bigger than mine.
No, it's been weird. I actually there's notifications. The battery's running down, so I have to take it for a
Yes.
drive and all of those
Yes.
things. I was like, okay,
Yes.
I didn't even think about that, I'm just thinking, I don't really need my car now. So I'm
No.
thinking, do I really need a car? Because I live so
Oh,
far
yes. Yes. It's an
without a
interesting
car.
question. I think those, you were saying it earlier on, but those are the elementary questions that people are going to be asking, What do I really need? And do we
Yeah.
absolutely need to get into these traffic jams? Because there's nothing more frustrating than, even Cape Town can have stressful traffic jams, and Johannesburg is no better.
Well,
Um,
I heard that Cape Town is worse than us.
Honestly.
Uh, it's gotten worse now because they're busy. I don't know. I haven't been to Cape Town for a while. Well, when I go to Cape Town, it's not for the purpose of going to
Being in a
work.
traffic jam. Sorry, going to work. Yes, I get it.
So, so that would be like a different kind of experience. But I also think, interesting enough, about 2 days ago, I was speaking to a lady in Canada, and we were sort of discussing what are the impacts on the way we do work. And she has had to share her office with her husband now because he's home. Because she runs a financial planning business from home. But what she said was he's the CEO of a software company. And I found this quite amazing because he was still going to an office and he's Mr. IT.
Well, the IT has to be done, especially now. I mean, look at what we are doing. This is all, somebody has to be, if there's something going wrong, I mean, the IT has to be done. So I understand, you know. And
But you see what he realized in this time, that it's actually not necessary to be in the office.
no. Oh,
You
that's so
know,
fantastic.
so he wants to sort of reorientate stuff, right? Because he said, why does he need to go to the office to speak to people on Zoom? He can do that from home. So, you know, there's like a whole different dynamic, and I think that's happening to a lot of people, where they sort of looking at, is this the career I want to be in for the next couple of years? Do I still want this job? What am I going to do next? So those kind of things are quite interesting.
I think we'll only know what the impact is by the time everything, you know, when the dust is settled. And I'm really curious as to what happens when the dust settles. You know, what do we uncover? What do we discover? I'm looking forward to it, but I think you have to be prepared. You know, prepared for everything because we don't know it, and at the same time, you have to prepare yourself as well. I think that's
Yeah,
challenging.
I think that's the challenge because, like I said, we both coach in the empowerment space, and we have to sort of, you know, I find it interesting that I'm kind of not down in the dumps, and so it's able to project that for people so that they have
Yes.
something. But I do find that a lot of people are struggling with this new way of living. And like I said, that's why I said to you earlier on, that depression and the burnout. I think a lot of more attention should be given to not just physical health issues, but mental health issues right now.
Yes. It's gonna impact us all. And you know what I do like about these periods is a period like this. I was listening to a sermon from the Rivers Church a few weeks ago, and this
Yeah,
Pastor
let's go
Andre.
to it.
I know, I know. I'll come, I promise. He said something that really I found really interesting. You know, he says lots of things I find interesting, but he was talking about such, you know, this how we go about. It had a lot to do with resilience as well, but it had
Yeah.
a lot to do with how do you, you know, don't be afraid, just step into it. And the stepping into it is you can't steer what's going to happen anyway, because I notice lots of people, they like the lives they live and how life is, but you have to let go of all that because if you still choose to stick to the old way of doing things, you're not going to get any further. It's going to harm you more than it's going to help you.
Well, it's also going to frustrate you no end because that life is not there anymore. It just isn't, you know.
No, no. I mean, I speak a lot. So in March, I know the 11th of March was my last moment that I spoke for the big podium. And I saw all my speaking engagements just, you know, like dominoes that just fell over. And now it'll only be starting up in September, hopefully, you know, hopefully. And so I have to figure out other ways of addressing people and speaking to them. So now the speaking companies are coming with online possibilities as well. And I'm resilient, you know, I'm at least I'm resistant. I don't want to do it because I've said to them, listen, when I speak on the podium, I touch people, I feel people, I see them, I acknowledge them. And when you're speaking online, you know, I miss the true connection. But what I forget is the message is more important for people at this time and not what I need from it.
Yeah, I think that's also an important lesson that we have to learn. Because I kind of, it's weird. You spoke about church, Rivers Church, and I kind of find I was like really, really happy that they could go online that fast.
Wow.
But I didn't actually bargain on the fact that being alone in my house listening to online service was actually, the connection was there because I thought it
Yes.
wouldn't. So I think you must just be open to it, because for me, I was very surprised. The most special thing for me is that Emma and I can listen to church together.
Oh, yes.
That's why we do the 8 o'clock service.
Yes.
But I mean, that was like special. And she's on the other side of the world, but we are like so connected in that service, and that we are actually connected to all the other people. So I think it's just opening your mind, like you say, and not just being about you, because people actually need to hear positive messages right now. And that's why I'm doing my bit to stay positive and spread the positivity rather than the negativity, because the news is awful.
Please don't even go there. It's a terrible place to be. I mean, it doesn't get better. It's been the same for 3 months or 2 months, and you don't, as a human being, you need hope and opportunity. You need to hear there are people who are doing well, and there are people who are progressing. But you're doing it so well. I think encouraging people every day is such a. I mean, I think I'm a little bit jealous of you, encouraging these people online every day and making their lives a little bit better, because that's what you do. You're saying you're this beacon.
Oh, as the Americans say, that's my jam.
Oh, that's your jam. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, the jam thing, you're doing quite well, So I like it.
Thanks. But it is actually come from a place of sincerity and from a place of wanting to give back. I think the main thing is that from my own journey, like you said, the power of resilience and all of that. I've been in some pretty dark spaces and had to like literally dig myself out of that again. And it takes sheer mental will to do that sometimes. I mean, I look back now and I think, how did I do that? Because it's
Wow.
like it's all a blur,
Yes. Yes.
You sort of, your brain blocks out certain things because you don't want to remember them. But I do remember the feeling. I do
Yes.
remember, how I felt.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to feel like that, because it's actually very, very, it's very debilitating. It's, and not just has an impact on you, but it has an impact on your family and, the people who love you around you. So, I mean, at one point, I think if I look back now, I was literally a walking zombie. One of my friends who's a psychologist, she reminded me that we met at that time, and she said I was like a robot. She didn't recognize me
Wow.
because she shares a doctor's surgery with other patients. I mean, other doctors. So I didn't know that she was there, And interestingly enough, we spoke about 2 weeks back. And she said to me, she said, look at you. And I said, yeah, why? And then she said, I remember that day. I didn't even want to say hello because I didn't want
Wow.
to, alienate you in a public space.
Wow. Wow.
And she said that I was so, that image stood, stood
Wow.
in her mind, that I was like such a stoic, robotic person. And I said, well, at that time, I actually didn't realize how bad I was feeling.
Jeez.
I was just wanting to get through each day. But what it did make me do is go and look at photos of myself at that time.
What did you
And,
see? What did you see?
well, I was dead. I mean, my eyes, I might have been smiling, but my eyes, my characteristic is my eyes light up when I smile. And those pictures, if you look closely enough, you'll see I was just like, there was nothing there, you
Wow.
know. So it was actually a good trigger to go and look at that, and then see the journey that one has come, and actually say, "Wow, did I really do that?" And I think that's what I said. You mustn't give up, like you say, give up hope, because the moment you do that, you die. I think.
Yes.
And I've seen that. I said I could have been in the cast of The Walking Dead.
Yes, I understand. No,
Oh,
but that's
that
really sad. But at the same time, Susanna, it's brought you, it's given you lots of strength, even although you were this zombie. But it's brought you lots of strength. Look at you now. I mean, you're such a beacon, and you are so empowering and so inspiring. But you did need that to learn that lesson and understand there's always a way up again.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. And I think being resilient, people think is like, I come from the corporate world, and you think that these issues about resilience and all of that, you sort of pay lip service to it. You think we need to get on here with, I need to meet my KPIs, I need to do these things. But when it comes down to brass tacks, it's actually about, how do you get yourself through things? How do you
Yes.
remain human?
Yes.
And I think that's what COVID is challenging a lot of people to look at. Um, is how human are you actually?
I think so too. I think it's very interesting, and of course, the nasty part about this is understanding how human you are and how human you should be isn't earning any
Yeah,
money. But this
yeah,
even bringing us beyond that point of money.
yeah. Because you have to just think about how things are going,
Yeah.
and every day. So yes, I show up every day. I get dressed every day. I do my makeup every day.
Of course, of course, of course. And the hair gets done every day.
No, not quite. I just
It looks
yeah.
good. Susanna,
Can
it
you
looks
see
good. So it's done for
the,
me.
can you see the gray?
No, I can't see the grey. I'm sorry. I only see the nice parts, me. I don't see anything negative. I don't look at those parts.
I was like, I was teasing my hairdresser the other day, and I said, I was thinking about you, and I was thinking that by the end of this period, I would know what my natural hair color is.
So, but you as a Cape Coloured, you can't be grey. I'm sorry, man. That doesn't work like that. You're just
No, I
fathoming those things. Yes,
would put
totally
rollers
okay.
in my hair.
Hey, I see my mother now. No, it's
Yeah, occasionally, I do the rollers.
you don't. And the stocking over those rollers as well.
Well, I've got a really fancy stocking.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, people tell me I'm not genuine enough because I've got like this thing.
No,
I
no.
think,
You
no,
need the old-fashioned one.
I'm not putting a stocking on my head.
I love it. I tell you, I mean, that's like for me, that's true culture. Not the fancy stuff. I mean, South Africans have become so fancy the last few years. Um, but I like the old-fashioned way of doing it. It's so I don't do it because I
It
don't put any rollers in my hair.
it works. It works. I tell you, it works.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and it doesn't actually, putting the stocking on your head actually minimizes the static.
Is that the
Ah!
idea?
Melissa says she did rollers yesterday and I dyed my hair.
I mean, this is like, I mean, of all the conversations we could have, this must be really the worst one. I mean, people talk to me about, Lucinda, what are the earning models and what is the business and what's the next steps? And we're talking about rollers and colored hair. I mean, honestly, this is the best conversation I've had all week.
Yes, I also been asked, like, talk about like future psychology of people, and I'm thinking, no, man, that's boring. I'll get there, but right now, I want to have some fun. I want to have some fun.
Hey, and with me, I tell you, we actually have a South Africa house in Amsterdam. And
Oh,
it's such a fancy place, but Afrikaans is the language they speak there. They actually keep this whole Afrikaans thing
oh yeah.
alive.
Margie says this is the time we have to recharge and reset. We will come out stronger. Most
Yes,
definitely, Marks. Most definitely.
yes.
It's fun. right
Yes,
now.
no, but it's also a great time to think about. Of course, a great time to think about new ideas and new concepts. But you don't have the rush. You actually have the space to actually think about it in a good way, and I think speak to other people as well.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me is I've spoken to so much more people than I normally would. Me being a natural introvert.
Sorry, come back into the phone.
So that works. So
What has
I've
it
got
brought you? What has it brought you speaking to all these people? What have you, besides learning whether we want stockings or the socky on the head, what is it? What has it actually brought you?
well, I think there's a common humanity.
Yes.
There's like nothing. I think the world has not faced anything as unifying as this COVID-19.
Sorry, I just had to laugh about this comment.
I
But
must. My husband says that rubber band putting is as long as you don't put it over your face, Debs, then it's difficult.
but it looks bad already, but it looks hilarious. I mean, I haven't seen this in like 20 years, 25 years. But it's
Okay,
so.
ladies, I've got a dare for you.
Oh,
I've got a challenge. Let's do rollers and stockings. And we need to post the pictures. I think we must do that.
listen, the last time you guys did this with the tablecloth, and I'm thinking it's a dress. And I'm saying to Susanna, you should wear that more often. It suits you so well. It's just a matter of perspective, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. Rollers.
And stocking.
I actually don't even know how to do rollers in my hair myself. My mom always used to do it for me. So that will be fun. Melissa, are you laughing? Yes, in agreement if we do a challenge? I'm gonna do that. I'm really gonna do
Listen,
that.
I wouldn't even start with rollers. I wouldn't know where to start.
He's right back to its roots. No roller is anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, you're true. No,
Oh my goodness. No, I never slept with them in. So that is like seriously fun.
this is it.
She's in. Cool. I'm gonna start this challenge.
I don't have rollers.
Talk to each
I wouldn't know
other.
how to do it. My
Yeah.
husband thinks, he says, if you're going to straighten your hair, I'm going to leave you. So I stick to this one.
Oh my goodness. From world issues to rollers and stockings.
But sometimes these are the bare essentials.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, you can't be handling world issues. I mean, I give lots of advice to companies, but you can't be busy. Last year, I've given so much advice in the past few years, and then I decided to do a theater show, and it was a one-woman show, totally hilarious, of course, because I like the humor. I have to laugh.
No, me also. I think I've got my laughing back.
But that's your power,
So yeah, no, it is important when you do these things that you actually don't lose your sense of humor.
No.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting cold. Let me just.
Oh, Suzanne, you have to. I will leave you.
Well, let's say.
I wouldn't even know how to leave you. This is also modcon, I don't know how to leave you. How do I get out of here?
Studio, I love it. Our only video is one suitable for. Oh, okay. So you haven't had the night out, Debbie, for a long time, but now you're gonna have to do it just for the challenge. Yeah.
I want to see it. I can't. This is amazing. This is like so back to my roots. I can share it with my sister in France. I can share it with everybody it hasn't done this.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to do that. So we set aside 30 minutes to have a conversation. An hour of this. Amazing. And thank goodness Facebook allows long lives, so we can do this.
But honestly, I've got this photo shoot this afternoon. So, and I've got my personal trainer in an hour. So I've got this. I love this,
I'm so glad you still have your personal trainer. I miss mine. I used to swear at her all the time, but geez, I've lost my, like in my head, but I've lost the kilos. So I actually miss her now.
Yes. I can't do without him. I can't do without him. I could do lots of things, or curlers and rollers and anything, but not with him.
So that was so cool having you on. And
Yes.
thank you for people joining us. This was really, really fun. We should do this more often.
I should do it more often. Suzanne, you must use me for my talents.
But your talent is, Lucinda, love your hair. Back in the day, we could not be caught dead having exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
Yesterday. I mean, I try to explain to people here. This has a certain history to it, you know. But it's true. I love it. I've learned to love it. You know, it took me like 20 years to learn to love me hair. That's lekker. That's lekker.
So, ladies, thank you for joining us. It was so much fun. So I'm going to end the broadcast now. Now I must find the button. So
yes,
bye.
yes, you find the button. I don't have to find the button, which is great. Suzanne, I'm going to speak to you soon. Big hug,
Okay.
big kiss, and see you soon. Bye-bye.